When you're faced with old, damaged plaster walls, one technique to dress up a room is to install drywall over the existing plaster. Before jumping into the project, be aware of a couple side effects of drywall overlay. The thickness of the drywall material will make the walls encroach into the room. This means the edges of woodwork such as crown molding, door jambs, and other trim can appear to be swallowed by the walls if left in place during the installation. You will probably want to remove the jambs and install extensions to keep the intended look of the woodwork. But do keep in mind that extending the door casings too much can sometimes interfere with the door swing. To avoid that swallowed-up look on the crown molding, you can first remove it and then install new molding over the drywall. However, removing the molding from old plaster can sometimes cause the plaster to pull out in large chunks. Speaking from experience there, giving you a new repair project. So it's best to install the overlay so the transition where the sheetrock meets the molding still looks good, and that will probably be your best bet. Also, remove the baseboards prior to the drywall installation. Also, check the electrical outlets and switches because they may need to be updated to code. Basics of hanging drywall don't require a great deal of technical skill, but accomplishing a professional-looking finished job does require a little finesse. First, gather all your necessary tools and materials by the job site. You'll also need some assistance to hang the drywall. The sheets can be large and awkward to handle. Also, drywall sheets should be installed horizontally, starting at the top of the wall. Mark the locations of the studs on the existing plaster walls to help you locate them later, and use a caulk gun to apply a liberal amount of liquid nails to the old wall surface. Raise the sheet and position it flush to the upper corner of the wall, covering the liquid nails. Once in place, fasten the sheet to the studs with drywall screws spaced about 18 inches apart. Be sure to countersink all the screws. After the liquid nails are set up, the drywall will be firmly attached to the plaster. Next, install the sheet at the bottom of the wall in the same manner, leaving a half-inch gap between the sheet and the floor to compensate for any unevenness in the flooring. That gap will be concealed by the baseboard when it's reinstalled. Installing the top and bottom sections of the wall usually leaves a space between the upper and lower sheets. Cut a panel of drywall to fit into this joint, butting the edges together with the other sheets. Now, the advantage of locating the joint in the middle of the wall is that you have room to feather the compound upward and downward from the joint to blend it smoothly into the surface. For panels that will cover obstructions such as outlets, switches, or vents, measure and use a rotary saw to cut the locations into the sheet before hanging it on the wall. You'll always have to trim the sheets to fit around corners and around doors and windows. When cutting drywall with a knife, measure and mark the cut. For long cuts, snap a chalk line. Then use a straight edge to guide the cut as you score the face of the sheet. Make another pass with a knife to deepen the cut. Bend the board backward to snap its core. Then turn the panel over to cut through the paper backing. Once cut, to remove any burrs or debris, use a drywall rasp. When positioning the panel on the wall, use a knife to trim down any corners or seams that are too tight to allow a proper fit. Any gaps can be filled in later with joint compound. Now that you've got the drywall up, completing the drywall requires taping all edges and seams and filling all the joints, screw holes, and edges with joint compound. While this procedure can appear simple, a professional finish can take some time to master. So this would be a good stopping point if you're not sure how to do the tape and bed work or taping and mudding, and to call a contractor. Thanks for watching.